This week we're going to work to create a racing game where you control one sprite and the other sprite is the computer. So it's going to be a one-player game where you're going against the computer, and you could add a second player if you like. That's optional, but I'll show you how to do it one player versus the computer. I'm going to make a design over here, but I just want to show you something. This is a design somebody created last year, so you could make it look like this if you'd like. It doesn't have to look like this, but I just want to show you, if you draw in a car, you could draw in a car, you can draw in a background, it can look something like that if you want. So you don't have to do it exactly how I do it. You could do something like this, but it's the same code. So let's take a look at what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get rid of the cat, because I don't want the cat. And what I'll do is I'll add in a bug. Okay, so I'll use a beetle here for my racing over here. And if you want to turn the beetle, you could just turn them, like this or like this to make them over this side. And you may want to make them a little bit smaller. Maybe you can make them like a 40 or whatever you want to do. Okay, if you want to make them look like that. Next thing you have to do is, who do you want them to go against? So I'll go another animal, and I'll look for, maybe I'll have them go against a crab. It doesn't matter. You pick the one that you like, and I'll make him go much smaller as well. That way they're the same size. Okay, so yeah, I have them over here. So you have the two sprites here. Now you have to make a background. So it's up to you how you want to do your background. What I would do is I probably would draw it in. So I go down here. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go down here. This is for the sprite. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to just draw it in. So I'm going to pick the drawing in one over here. Let me move my screen so you can see. So I went over here. I click drawing. Okay, and I'm going to draw it in. I'll go to paint bucket, and I'll go, maybe you want a brown background. Let's see if we could do it here. Oh, let's see. How about right around... maybe a little darker. Okay. And you could put that in here. That we could just do this. Oh, we may have to convert here. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, so now we got a brown background. Is you could just go over here and you change it. Maybe you'll make this a little green. Maybe a little lighter green. And I just, do a nice little thing like that. And you can make this a little bigger. So this is going to be their little obstacle to go over. And if you want to make it look a little bit more elaborate, what you could do, and actually what you're going to want to do is you're going to go over here and move this down a little bit. Move this down. We may have to convert to this one here. Move this. Make sure this is this one's at the top, and you don't want them going through here. So that's why you want to make that a little bit lower. Next thing you may want to do is, you don't have to do this, but you can go over here. You can add in a tree. Add in a tree. You can put a tree in there if you'd like. So now we have a little tree. Maybe make the tree 70. Okay, and then if you want to, you could add in a rock. You don't have to do it exactly like this, but I'm just giving you some examples. If you want to put a rock in there. Okay, so now you have a little bit of a design to it. You don't have to. So the rock and the tree are optional, and you have your two characters over here. Now, let's say you want to control the beetle. We're going to click on the beetle, and now we're going to code our game. So we're going to say when we start our game, and we're going to go to motion and point in direction. So we're going to point in direction. We're going to point in direction up, because we want him to start that he's pointing up like this, like he is. And then we're going to say, where do we want him to go to? When he starts the game, where do we want him to go to? We want him to start over here. Negative 205 and then negative 139. So they had put that in there for us at negative 205. So that's where he starts the game. Next thing we're going to do, if he's touching this color, we're going to have to make him move backwards. So if, control forever, and when's clicked forever, if, and we're going to go to sensing, if touching color, if touching, and you click the color, and you do the paint bucket here, okay? So if touching color, and this green color, you got to select it right like this. So you select this, and then you select right on the green. If it's touching the green, what do you want him to do? You want him to move negative 10 steps. So that means if he's touching the green, he's going to go backwards, negative 10. Okay, that means if he's touching the green, he goes backwards. And then we're just going to make some controls from. We're going to go to events, and we're going to say when the up arrow is pressed, okay, he's going to move 5 steps. Motion, move 5 steps. Okay, and then we're going to say if the down, I'll give you a tip here. You can go here, duplicate, and you can go like this, and you say if the down arrow is pressed. Now, what do you want to do if the down arrow is pressed? You want to move negative 5 steps. Okay, now what do you want to do with the right arrow? So you could go to events, and you say when the right arrow is pressed, what do you want to do when the right arrow is pressed? Motion, you want to turn, and you could change this if you want. I'll say turn 30 degrees. And then you maybe want to move 5 steps. Now you could change this to different numbers, but here's how I'm doing it. And then what you could do is you could duplicate this, right click duplicate, and then say when the left arrow is pressed. Now you already have your blocks, except you got to take this out. And it's got to turn to the left. 30. And he moves 5 steps. Okay, so now we have a nice little control here. So now when we click the flag, the beetle, see, he can move up and down. And he could turn. And if he goes into the green, see I get stuck? I get stuck because of this code here. Now, here's something that I'm going to do. You don't have to do this, but here's something that you could do over here. If you want to make a finish line over here, you can go over here and you can go to paint. So look at here in paint. And then you could just draw in a little bit of a finish line if you like. Some kids, they like to do a little finish line. Let's see, like if we could make a nice little, let's make it like this. And if you want to, you can make a nice little finish line like that. And then I can move that in. And let's make that a little smaller. Okay, let's move this over here. So that could be our finish line if you would like. We could extend that. And like I said, you could make this, you could make this, black and white like a checkered finish line if you'd like. But now you see this is called Sprite 1. Okay, so this little blue thing, you can't see it with my computer because it's blocking it down here, but this little blue thing is called Sprite 1. It's called Sprite 1. So when we go back to the beetle, we need to make the beetle that it's going to say you win when he touches Sprite 1. Okay, so that's what we have to go towards. So now we're going to create that in there. Okay, so let's make a look at that. We're going to say, let's give some more space over here. We're going to say events, when clicked, forever, if then, and we're going to say if touching, sensing, touching, what? Touching this little blue thing, which is called Sprite 1. So this is called Sprite 1. Now you could change the name of it to finish line if you want, but I'll leave it as Sprite 1. If touching Sprite 1. Now what do you want to happen if it's touching Sprite 1? Well, you could say, you win. You win. You also maybe want to put some sound in there. It's up to you. You could, it's your game. You could do whatever you'd like. You could, put a sound in there, however you want to do it. And then if you want to, you could even put a stop all in there. You could even do a control, and you could do a stop all. Okay, stop all down here. Okay, so that stops our game. Okay, so that now we have, when he gets all the way to here, he's going to go through. Now, if you don't like this, if it's going too slow, you could change it from 5 steps until 8 steps or 10 steps. It's up to you what you would like to do. Okay, now he's going to go over here, and it says you win when he gets there. Okay, now we get the flag, he goes back here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to control the other sprite, and we want him to have be controlled by the computer. If you want to make this a 2-player game, what you could do is make different controls for the crab here, but what I'll do is I'll make it controlled by the computer. So the first thing we need that he could win, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this that says if touching Sprite 1, say you win. So we take that code and we just drag it here right to the crab. So now he has that code. Okay, so now you see if he touches this, he's going to say he wins. But what we want him is we want him to be controlled by the computer. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to say events, when the flag's clicked, and we're going to go motion, point in direction, and point in direction up, 0 degrees to make them go up. Now, where do you want him to start the game? Let's just give you more space here. We want him to start, when the game starts, we want him to go right here, -138 and then -48. So they put that in there for us. But if they didn't, what you would do is you would just go down here and look at this. You move him where you want him to be, and then you put those numbers in here, -143, -143, and then over here, what was he? Where'd he go? Oh, he moved. We want him -143 and -140. Okay, -140. So now when he's there, he starts in the same way. Let's just turn him so that he's facing the right way. Okay, we may have to face him. He may have to go to this way. Let's see if that works better for him. Okay, that works. Pointing direction 90 works better for the crab. So you could always experiment if you don't like the way it looks. So now what we're going to do is we want him to move on his own. So we're going to use glide. We're going to have him glide, and you could try different times if you want. We want him to glide to here. -157. Let's put that in here. -157, and then 115. So let's see how that looks. We click the flag, and it takes them 1 second here. Now, if that's too quick, you make this 2 seconds if you want. Now, if that's, you could experiment with this. It depends on how hard you want the game to be. You can make it 2.5 or 3 seconds, whatever you want to do. And then what he's got to do is he's got to turn. He's going to turn 90 degrees. And then what's he going to do? He's going to glide, and we're going to duplicate this because we're going to use those again. Okay, so he's going to glide, and where's he going to glide to? He's going to glide to over here, and that's going to be 174 and 122. Actually, we can leave that 115. So now we have it that he goes like this. He does his right turn, and he glides to this point, and now he's going to do another right turn. And then we're going to do what? And you could always do the right click and duplicate if you want to reuse those codes. What's the next thing he's going to do? He's going to glide to, and he's got to glide to the finish line. He's going to glide to down here, and see it says you win. He's going to glide to 174 and -136. So let's see how the game goes. We have him from the beginning saying there he goes. So this one here, it may be a little bit too quick. Okay, so if this game is too quick, what you could do is a few things. You can go to the beetle, and you could make this, instead of 5 steps, you can make it 10 steps. Or what you could do, if you want to make this guy slower, you can make this like 5 seconds here. So he's got to go, it takes him 5 seconds, and maybe make this like 4 seconds. So now it gives like a little bit more of a fair game. Let's start him again. Okay, so now it's a little bit more fair of a race. Did a bad turn. Okay, so you can experiment with this however you want to do it. And like I said, you could change the numbers here to make the computer go faster or slower. And you could change this as well to make it more steps if you want to go faster. And you could come up with your own design. You can create some cars if you would like. And you also could make this a 2-player game if you would like as well. So that's how to create a racing game.